Housing Authority, Chairman Timothy Sullivan, Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, Commissioner Janet Trask, Commissioner David Texera, Commissioner Carol Roberts. We'd all like to welcome you to this new Zoom meeting for the Brockton Housing Authority. I have to read this paragraph to everybody. The Brockton Housing Authority will meet virtually on Tuesday, April 28, 2020 at 2 p.m. Due to the social distancing guidelines related to the COVID-19 state of emergency, this meeting will be held remotely, not at the Brockton Housing Authority's offices. The public is invited to view and/or listen to the meeting via phone, computer, laptop, or tablet. To do so, download the Zoom Cloud Meeting app at any app store or at www.zoom.us at 2 p.m. on April 28, 2020. Click on to join the meeting and enter meeting ID number 985-3297-8330, or use the link http://zoom.us/i/985-329-78330. You may also join by calling conference line at 1-646-558-8656 at 2 p.m. on April 28, 2020, and enter the passcode 98532978-330, followed by the pound sign. The board chair will instruct participants on the appropriate time and manner for public comment during this meeting. The agenda is listed below. I'm guessing, Tom, everybody's got a copy of the agenda,
Yes.
Yep.
even though it doesn't say it. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I got a flag right here.
Okie dokie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty,
and justice
Justice
for all.
For all.
Amen. All right, Janet.
Before we start this meeting, could we get a moment of silence for the 3,000 plus members of the state that have died from COVID-19? Just a moment of silence for them, please. Thank you. And I just wanted to say before we start that I hope everybody's feeling okay. It's been tough for everybody. They haven't seen anybody. And the curfew is still in place from 9:00 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day. Item 1, roll call, Mr. Keeble.
Commissioner Trask,
Here, sorry.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Here.
Commissioner Roberts,
Here.
Mr. Chairman,
Here.
and I don't think Mr. Texera is on the call yet. Mr. Texera? He is not here yet.
Item 2, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 27th, 2020, item A in your packets. Mr. Keeble?
I have reviewed the meeting minutes. I have found them to be in order, and I would recommend that they be approved as written.
Make a motion that we approve the minute.
Second. Yep.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask, to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 27, 2020 as written. Any questions on the motion? Tom, on these, we're gonna have to do a roll call.
Every vote, we have to do a roll call.
And we need a roll call for item 2, please. Mr.
Commissioner
Keeble?
Pettiford,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
and Mr. Sullivan, Commissioner Sullivan.
Yes. Motion carries, not unanimous, because we haven't got David Texera yet.
We do not have him.
No.
Item 3, hearing of visitors. At this point of the meeting, any member of the public is invited to speak before the Board of...
Owen, could you open up any of the guests to their
Yeah, I'm
microphones?
just gonna unmute him. One second.
I just wanted to say that the board will take any issue under advisement and respond at a later date. The total time for the hearing of visitors will be limited to 15 minutes each.
Looks like we have 3 guests, Tom, that aren't in, and I haven't heard anyone speak up yet.
Any visitors like to speak?
Hearing none.
Oh, thank you.
Item 5. Approval of the bills of the special meeting of April 28, 2020, Exhibit B. Is this Commissioner Roberts?
Yes. All right. I don't have any questions at this moment, because you're not in the office. So we're gonna talk about it later. But so far, everything looks good, so, I make a motion to approve the bills for the, where are we? I just lost my place, Tom.
Item 5.
Item 5. Motion to approve the bills for the special meeting of April 28, 2020 as presented.
You
Second
need a
it.
second from somebody?
Second,
A motion has been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to approve the bills of the special meeting of April 28, 2020 as written and presented. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Keeble?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries, not unanimous. Item 6, approval of creative place making grant submission. Mr. Tebow?
This is a grant that is been issued by the Department of Housing and Community Development. Commissioner Trask and I attended a symposium on it in November. We immediately went to Kennedy Drive and looked at that and thought that it would be a good place for the application of this grant. It's for up to $500,000 for capital improvements to the community space that will bring together the community, the cultures, art. I've been working on this grant for some time, and it will be finalized and hopefully submitted tomorrow. I think it's a great opportunity. The residents at Kennedy Drive are very excited about it. The resident engagement was stifled due to the COVID virus, but I have to tell you, the tenant president there, Kevin Connor, has done a fabulous job. He actually painted footprints on his sidewalk outside his door, 6 feet from his door, and he asked everybody to come up and stand in the footprint and tell him what they thought about the grant and how it could improve lives there. So we're looking into the
Nice.
community room over, exterior of the building, some sitting areas, expand the kitchen, put ADA compliant bathrooms in there. Right now, you cannot use the bathroom if you're in a wheelchair there. Kitchen, same thing, and expand services. So I highly recommend that the board vote to approve the submission of this grant.
Oh, no problem.
We need a motion, item 6.
I make a motion to approve the submittal of the Creative Placemaking Initiative Grant by the Brockton Housing Authority for the benefit of the Kennedy Drive Elderly Disabled Housing Complex.
Second?
A motion's been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. The motion is to approve the submittal of the Creative Placemaking Initiative Grant by the Brockton Housing Authority for the benefit of Kennedy Drive Elderly Disabled Housing Complex. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. All in, roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Trask,
Yes,
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes,
Commissioner Pettiford,
yes,
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
motion carries, not unanimous. Tom, before I go on the correspondence, did you want to have anything to say on that?
One quick thing, there's a letter in there from David Hediskinson about a woman named Mary and how she applied for housing and how this new system has affected her. And I think the board members should read it because it's a real simple way to understand the frustration that some of our applicants are having trying to maneuver through the new state waiting list system.
and just a comment about the guild that was a part of the staple package with the creative placemaking. That was very interesting too. The people involved in that and who've been doing that. I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at that, but
If I could tell you a little bit about the guild. So we met with George Durante, the TDI fellow assigned to Brockton. George gave us a real tutorial on creative spaces, the concepts. He then recommended this nonprofit, the Guild, who has worked with many disenfranchised and difficult neighborhoods to bring the residents together, build a community. And so that the woman who runs it is brilliant. I have to tell you, after a couple minutes on the phone with her, it was just apparent how well she knew this. So we're excited about working with them at Kennedy Drive and addressing some of the, Kennedy Drive for years has been isolated, an island to its own. And we really like to do some things to bring that back.
she's a Harvard anthropologist to
Oh.
boot.
to boot.
Tom, just one question so people know. Is Brockton Housing open right now for business?
Brockton
100%?
Brockton Housing Authority is open for business, not 100%. You cannot walk into the office and sit with someone. You can call them, email them. We can do this Zoom, we can do FaceTime, but we are open for business. We're moving along, and actually every day we talk about how we can do more and more as this goes on, and as we realize how long it's going to be before we're back to anything that resembles normal.
Mhm.
Tom, I was just wondering if somebody was to walk up the 45 Gordon Road and want to put an application in for an apartment, what happens? Do they get turned away?
No, we
Well, they
do a
can't
lot
get
of
in.
communication through the door. In that case, we'd send them to 1090 Main Street. Would actually, we want it. We tell them to go to our website or to call us, and we'll mail them the information. But all of the information for applications is online. Tramita does that on a regular basis. I know I sent her an application today, or a person interested in an applicant. So she would point them there, but if they needed it, we would mail it out. We mail out applications all the time.
Okay.
And just getting back to Kennedy Drive, don't they have a number of gardens there too?
They have some resident gardens there, yes. They don't have any formal that we're working in collaboration to, and that they are excited about doing some gardens. They actually put down they'd like to do beehives there also.
Nice, nice.
Good for them.
Just so you know, I see the bus is rerouted out of there now because of the work they're doing at the Battles Farm. They can't get through.
I did not know that, Commissioner. I
Yeah,
didn't.
the bus goes all the way down Battle Street to the CVS and takes a left to the mall.
So it's not available to the residents.
No, unless they walk through to get to Battle Street. They have to walk all the way through Battles Farm.
Mhm.
That's been going on for a couple of weeks, Tom. There's some kind of construction there.
I know, I've been there. You have to take, when you go through, when I head towards Warren Avenue, I have to take a left. I can't take a right when I go into the complex, which bring me by the mailboxes. So, okay, well, we'll talk to the tenant president about that and see if he's got any feedback. But everybody our residents are doing a good job at sheltering in place for the most part.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item 7. approval of amendment to Section 8 Administrative Plan, selection for housing choice voucher assistance, Exhibit D in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
No, this was great news. It's related to the award of some additional assistance, and I'd like to ask Mr. Plouffe to speak about it.
Thank you, Mr. Tebow. Members of the board, nice to see you and talk with you. We were awarded 39 new mainstream vouchers. These vouchers are for younger, disabled, homeless individuals. As part of our submission, part of the reason we got points and why we were awarded the vouchers is that we said we would amend our administrative plan to put these preferences in place in our administrative plan. And what they do is that we have given two preferences. One is somebody who's homeless, who's coming out of a program like Father Bill's Rapid Rehousing, or somebody who was institutionalized and is coming out with a recommendation from a group like BAMSI that they can live independently. And so these preferences, so that we can award these vouchers with these preferences, we have a limited time to get these vouchers out on the street. We've been delayed now with the COVID issues, but would like to be up and moving. And I'll take any questions.
Tom, should this help with any of the homeless young people we see around downtown Brockton? Because it seems like there's, you know, at least half of them are young people. They're not elderly. And I don't know if they're in any programs. Do you have to be coming out of a program?
This is for younger, disabled, homeless, and the two preferences we had, so that we were sure that they were ready to move on to independent living, because otherwise we'd just be churning the vouchers. Because once they got into an apartment, if they didn't follow the rules, they'd lose the voucher.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Right.
so we wanted to make sure that they were somebody who was ready, who'd gone.
So you really couldn't just pick somebody up off the street and bring them?
That wasn't what we were looking for, to make
I
sure
see.
that this program was a success.
Yeah.
So we're picking somebody who is homeless, who's gone through the shelter program and now is ready for independent living, and somebody else can backfill where they are.
Got it.
Tom, I have one question for you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
How would somebody get to apply for this?
So
One number of a call?
Sure. Once the board approves this, we will have to notify actually everybody on our Section 8 wait list to say, do you believe you are eligible for this preference? And if you are, let us know. And it will also be advertising in the paper. If you believe you are eligible for this preference, you can apply.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to say again, don't mind these glasses. I lost my regular glasses. These are Debbie's.
No, I think they look great.
We need a motion, item 7.
Yeah,
From
if it'll make
anybody?
you feel better, Mr. Chairman, I'll put mine on.
Much better.
I'll make a motion. Chairman, I make a motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Pettiford, Commissioner Pettiford.
Yes. Motion to approve the amendments to the Brockton Housing Authority, Section 8 Administration Plan, Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Part 3, Selection for HCV Assistant as presented.
In a second.
Second?
A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve the amendments to the Brockton Housing Authority Section 8 Administrative Plan, Chapter 4, Part 3, selection of HCV assistants as presented. Any questions on the motion?
No.
Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Just a note, I've been communicating with Commissioner Texera. He can hear us. He's having
Oh, good.
problems with his audio. He was trying to call in now.
Okay.
Tom, could you ask him to vote on this vote, if he could hear us?
He
To make it unanimous, that's all.
No, but he can't vote and nobody can hear him, so it's got to be 4-0 till he can say it in public.
Okay. The motion carries and it's not unanimous, 4-0. Item 8. Appointment of maintenance mechanic aides, Exhibit E in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask that the board table this item, there are two gentlemen who we have interviewed. We are very excited to bring them on, but under the current shutdown, we don't have the ability to onboard them now. And we would like to bring this back to our May 28th meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
We need a motion from somebody to table till May
Make a
28th.
motion. Ernie? Make a motion that we table this to the May 28th meeting.
And a second?
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts, to table the appointment of maintenance mechanic aides until the May 28th meeting. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Nothing with David yet?
I don't see a new number on there.
Item 9, approval of change order number 1, elevator renovations, Crosby Gardens, project 667-4, Exhibit F in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
So I just want to point out that some of this stuff is a bit old. It was from the agenda that we canceled from our March meeting, and it's being carried forth. If I could ask Mr. Barry to speak on this, but I don't see him now.
I'm here.
Okay, if you could speak on this, Mr. Barry?
Yes. Yes. Back in December 16th, we had a state elevator inspection at Crosby Gardens. We had done a partial renovation to their elevator. At the time of the inspection, the inspector failed the elevator due to the piston and the pump jack having a pressure release during it. They eventually shut the elevator down again until it was to replacement of the jack and the piston. DHCD had instructed Buckley Elevator to perform the work to eliminate the elevator being out of service. I recommend a approval of a change order number 1 in the amount of $61,580 to Buckley Elevator, the elevator renovations at 667-4 Crosby Gardens.
Chris, if the original company didn't do something properly, so it failed the test, don't they have to fix it?
The pump jack and the piston were not part of the project. The project had only really consisted of the hydraulics and the upgrades to the fire alarm control on the elevator. This was not part, the pump and the piston were, neither one of them were part of the project.
So they did nothing wrong.
No, all of their work, actually, all of their work was passed and signed off by the state inspector that day, but the pump and the jack, which were not part of the original contract, failed.
Just one question, Chris?
Yep.
If I could. that pump and piston, is that normally something that would be replaced?
Yeah, it's the original from it, from the original build of it. Yes, it would be, again, once one goes, it's typically the other one as well goes. What it is basically is that the elevator, once it got to the top, say the top floor, it would eventually start to drop down little by little as it came down. And you can remember, this is also on a, what would they call, a full load test. So there was 2,500 pounds of weight on it, which typically, you're not going to have 2,500 pounds, but by state law, they have to test at this time for it. So the 2,500 pounds, it was dropping.
This $61,000,
Yep.
well, it's like putting in a brand new elevator, isn't it, Chris?
It's not so much putting it in, but for one, this won't, we will never be around when this has to get, hopefully you'll never be around when this jack or piston has to get replaced again as well. So,
That's good to hear.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We need a motion. Item 9.
Okay, motion to approve change work order number 1 in the amount of $61,580 to the contract with Buckley Elevators for the elevator renovation at Crosby Gardens, project 667-4.
Second it.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford. The motion is to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $61,580 to the contract with Buckley Elevator for the elevator renovations at Crosby Gardens, project 667-4. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. David Texera on there yet, or still working?
He is not, I believe he can hear us, but we cannot hear him. So he
Okay.
cannot participate in the meeting until we can hear him.
Moving on to item 10, award of contract, fire alarm system, Bel Air Heights, project 24-2, exhibit G in your packets. Mr. Tebow.
As you know, the authority's been upgrading the fire alarm systems in all of our federal developments. I believe this is the last one. If I could ask Mr. Barry to speak on it for a moment.
Well done. Thank you. Back on February 26th, we went out to solicit DCAM certified alarm system contractors for Bel Air Heights fire alarm system. On March 12th, the public online bid opening was held, with 6 bids being received, ranging from $439,900 to $787,500. Jupiter Electric, the apparent low bidder with a $439,900, was deemed to be responsible after all references were checked. We recommend award of contract to Jupiter Electric Incorporated of 142B Lafayette Road, Salisbury, Mass. for the 24-2 Bel Air Heights fire alarm system replacement in the amount of $439,900.
We need a motion, item 10. Anybody?
I make a motion to award a contract to Jupiter Electric Incorporated of 142B Lafayette Road, Salisbury, Mass. for the 24-2 Bel Air Heights fire alarm system replacement in the amount of $439,900.
And a second.
Second it.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford. The motion is to award a contract to Juniper Electric Incorporated of 142B Lafayette Road, Salisbury, Mass. for the 24-2 Bel Air Heights fire alarm system replacement in the amount of $439,900. Any questions on the motion? I just wanted to add that this $439,900 is the low bid, which it seems awful high to me, but
Such
A
a
roll call,
wide
Mr. Keeble?
range. It's like 300,000 more for the high bidder.
Yeah.
Wow.
we're in the wrong business, Janet.
I guess,
Need a roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. 4-1.
No, 0.
4-0. 4-0.
Mhm.
Item 11, approval of change order number 6, energy conservation measures, federal developments, Exhibit A in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
This week is regarding our energy conservation measures contract. We had a problem at the Bel Air high rise where the system they put in was not performing well. This is a piece of equipment, and it made the job continue on and on and on. So the change order is for a no-cost time extension for a completion date of February 26, 2020. But it was a very technically high-tech new heating and air conditioning system that had multiple issues, but we finally got it. They finally got it straightened out.
Tom, how do you say that? Is that Arugio Brothers?
Rougeau.
Arugio? Okay.
Yep.
We need a motion, item 11, from anybody?
I make
A
a motion.
motion.
Nope, you go, Ernie.
Okay, thank you. Motion to approve change order number 6, a no-cost time extension to the contract with LaJewel Brothers Plumbing and Heating, Inc. of New Bedford, Mass., extending the date of the completion to the February 26, 2020 for the energy conservation measured in federal developments.
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve change order number 6, a no-cost time extension to the contract with the Ruggiero Brothers Plumbing and Heating Incorporated of New Bedford, Mass., extending the date of completion to February 26, 2020 for energy conservation measures in federal developments. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So we didn't have to pay them any more money. We just had to give them more time to fix it.
Correct, to bring the records up to date and to get it compliant.
And that motion carries at 4-0.
Hmm.
Item 12, approval of certificate of completion, consolidated and certificate of release energy conservation measures, federal developments, Exhibit I in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
Mr. Barry, if you could speak on this, please.
Yes. And with the extension of the time, McKinnell and Taylor has deemed Arugio Brothers and Eaton complete as of February 26, 2020 for the BHA-wide energy conservation measure project, as per change orders and the plans and specifications. The McKinnell Taylor has also confirmed that all construction work meets applicable codes and Arugio has completed all punch list items. We would recommend to approve the certificate of completion consolidated and the certificate of release for BHA-wide energy conservation measure projects to Arugio Brothers Plumbing and Heating Incorporated of 222 Nice Lane, Acushnet, Mass.
We need a motion from anybody?
I make a motion to approve the certificate of completion consolidated and the certificate of release for the BHA Wide Energy Conservation Measures Project to Araujo Brothers Plumbing and Heating Incorporated of 224 Nye Lane, Acushnet, Mass. 02743.
And a
Second it.
second.
Second it.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford. Motion is to approve the certificate of completion consolidated and the certificate of release for the Brockton Housing Authority Wide Energy Conservation Measures Project to Araujo Brothers Plumbing and Heating Incorporated of 224 Nye Lane, Acushnet, Mass. 02743. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 13, award of contract, boiler and hot water materials, Crescent Court, Project 24, Exhibit J in your packets. Mr. Tebow.
I'll let Mr. Barry speak on this, but this is actually good news. We're providing about $69,000, almost $70,000 worth of materials. And ABCD is providing over $500,000 in work for us. So it's a good match. Mr. Barry?
Hmm.
Thank you. Again, back on March 18th, capital improvements went out, solicit suppliers for 24 floors.
We can't hear you, Chris. You're echoing for some reason.
Sorry. For the boiler.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'll follow. So we did go out to bid. We went out to bid. Oh, it's all echoing. Okay. We did go out to bid for materials for the installation of boilers at Crescent Court 24-4. And the low bid came in at $69,755, and we're making a recommendation that the board approve the bid to Republic Supply Company of 890 Providence Highway, Norwood, Mass. In the amount of $69,755.
Need a motion, item 13, from anybody?
I make a motion. I make a motion to award a contract in the amount of $69,755 to Republic Supply Company of Norwood, Mass. for the CF-94 boiler and the hot water material for Crescent Court, project 24-4.
And a second from somebody?
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to award a contract to Republic Supply Company of 890 Providence Highway, Norwood, Mass. in the amount of $69,755 for the 24-4 Crescent Court CF-94 boiler and hot water materials project. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 14, acceptance of comment and approval of Resolution 20-2, resolution approving the submission of the Brockton Housing Authority's 2020 annual plan and the 2024 five-year capital improvement plan, Exhibit K in your packets. Mr. Keeble?
I'll ask Mr. Barry to speak on this. I just want to make comment. HUD has changed the format of the report. And Mr. Barry does this all on the computer. And I find it much harder to read, and I'm in the business, and it's supposed to be a public document. It has been shared with our residents, and that we've explained what we want to do, but that's my opinion on the upgrade. I'm sure it does something technically for them, but it doesn't seem easier to read. Mr. Barry?
Thank you. Back again in 2013, HUD has required the capital fund program to be decoupled from the Housing Authority plan itself. And before the plan, it must be advertised and public comments received. The plan was advertised and copies sent to tenant presidents and members of the resident advisory board. Copies were also made available to anyone in the community who requested one. The comment period concluded on November 21st, 2019. I recommend that you accept the 2020 comment period and resolution 20-02 approving the submission of the Brockton Housing Authority's 2020 capital fund annual budget and the 2020 to 2024 5-year capital improvement plan. A roll call vote is required.
Yes.
We need a motion from anybody? Item 14.
Motion to approve resolution number 20-02, resolution approving the submission of the Brockton Housing Authority's 2020 annual plan and the 2020 through 2024 5-year capital improvement plan. A roll call vote is required.
And a second?
Second?
A motion has been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to accept the 2020 comment period and resolution 20-2 approving the submission of the Brockton Housing Authority's 2020 capital fund annual budget and the 2020 to 2024 5-year capital improvement plan. Roll call, Mr. Tebow.
Tom, you're muted.
Has Tom been muted?
Thank you very much. Owen was shutting me up. He said I couldn't speak anymore.
Nice job, Owen.
I know how he feels. My wife feels that all the time. Let me go on. I'm sorry. Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Is that David Texera right here talking?
I don't see him. I did send him the call-in number, but I haven't seen him come on.
Okay. Item 15. Approval of amendment number 1, architect/engineer services, revised phases 11C and 11D, comprehensive modernization, Caffrey Towers, project 24-7, exhibit L in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
I'd say this is one of the first major changes to construction that you'll see due to the COVID-19 virus. The job originally called for inside work, going into people's apartments and renovating them, moving people around the building, and then there was exterior work. So Mr. Barry has instructed the architect to separate the two so we can start the exterior work while we hopefully get through this, and then we'll resume the second part of it later. But Mr. Barry, could you speak on that?
Again, we had two projects basically as one. We had the entire exterior facade work and balcony restorations. Included was going to be 4 rises of renovations to the units. Knowing that the requirements for the COVID-19 right now, we unable to get interior work completed. So we have then gone to McKinnell & Taylor to separate these and put it as a total separate exterior project for the balcony and facade work. And then eventually to convert the apartments into their own project. We would recommend a motion to approve amendment number 1 to McKinnell and Taylor in the amount of $39,000 for revised Phase 3C, which is going to be exterior work only, and Phase 3D scope of work, which will be the interior of the apartments at 24/7 Caffrey Towers Comprehensive Modernization Project.
Okay.
Just one question, Chris.
Sure.
When you talk about a riser, what do you,
Can I,
when you talk about a riser, are you talking about one row of apartments?
one stack of apartments, so it'd be like 102 through 802. That's a riser. That's where all the domestic, the water piping and all the electrical runs up from first floor to the 8th floor. That's a riser. We had planned on 4 risers to be done, which we will now put them into a different project. So that would be, again, 30 units were going to be affected by it.
So that's not the complete building being done, it's just,
No, that we're doing, again, sections at a time.
okay, just trying to understand it.
Yeah.
We need a motion, item 15, from anybody?
I make a
Motion.
motion
Go ahead,
to
Jerry.
approve addendum number 1 to McKinnell and Taylor Incorporated in the amount of $39,000 for the revised Phase 3C and Phase 3D scope of work at 24/7 Caffrey Towers Comprehensive Modernization Project.
Second.
Second. Mhm.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve addendum number 1 in the amount of $39,000 to the contract with McKinnell and Taylor Incorporated for the revised Phase 3C and Phase 3D scope of work for the comprehensive modernization of Caffrey Towers Project 24-7. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes?
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Item 16, approval of 2020 HUD income limits, Exhibit M in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask Ms. Rose to speak on this item, please.
What you have before you are the 2020 HUD income limits, and we are asking that the board adopt those income limits so that we might use those for determining eligibility for our various programs, and we also use those for continued occupancy.
Has this been affected by the coronavirus, Jermita?
No, not the income limits. They went into effect as of April 1st of this year, but they haven't been affected by that.
These income limits determine how much your maximum income can be to participate in our programs. And then there are other levels set at 15 and 30%. We have goals for there. Unfortunately, in Brockton, the vast majority of our people are well below 30% of the median income. And this does not end up being an issue. From time to time, someone in federal public housing will bump up against it. And they have 2 years that they can stay in a housing until they move out.
Okay. Okay. Mhm.
The chairman is on mute.
There he goes.
Okay, I'm off of mute now. We need a motion, item 16, from anybody?
Motion to approve the 2020 HUD income limit as presented.
Okay. Second,
Carol, was that you, the second, Carol?
yes.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve the 2020 HUD income limits as presented. Any questions on the motion? Was that a question I heard, Tom, from somebody?
I did not hear a question, no.
I heard it, some kind of mumbling. I couldn't make it out though. We get a roll call on item 16.
Sure. Commissioner Roberts,
Yes,
Commissioner Trask,
Yes,
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 17. Approval of the memorandum of understanding between the Brockton Housing Authority and the Maintenance Employees Union affiliated with the Service Employees International Union, Local 888. Exhibit in your packets, Mr. Tebow.
Yes, as you know, we have two unions at the Brockton Housing Authority, one for administrative, a second for the maintenance. Both contracts came due. They ended December 31st. Obviously, we had some problems in meeting and negotiating due to this virus, but they have come to agreement, and I think it's a very fair agreement. Our people have made sacrifices over the years. As you know, last year was a fairly good year for us. Looking forward, I see some very difficult years as the entire country's economy, but I do think this is a fair agreement, and I'd like Mr. Plouffe to speak of it. He led the negotiating team for the authority.
Thank you, Mr. Tebow, members of the board. As Mr. Tebow said, we started in December negotiating, and we were negotiating through March, and then we canceled the meeting because of the coronavirus, and then we started negotiating remotely and came to agreement. There were a lot of issues on the table, but once we started negotiating remotely, we peeled most of those away. And as you can see, the MOA doesn't affect a lot of the items in our contract. The highlights are the union wanted some language because of the Janus decision and union organizing to have some language changes, which we agreed to. We put in a cost of living adjustment that covers all 3 years, a slight upgrade in longevity, which was very important to one of our unions because most of the workforce is older, and after they hit 5 years, there's no more step increases, and that we would pay $1 more to the dental insurance for the members.
Mr. Plouffe,
Yes,
could I put you on hold for 1 minute, please?
yes.
Be right back.
says David's connecting to audio.
Oh, he might have solved his issue.
mhm.
As I said, we have been practicing this Zoom for a month now, and we have people who get on it 5 times in a row fine, and then the 6th time have a problem for one reason or another. And it's not always the same problem. Carol, you and I did it yesterday and had no problem, and today you had a bit of a problem getting on.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure it has a lot to do with us not understanding it, but there also seems to be some fickleness to the system.
No, it's fickleness to the system. It's connecting. Everybody's on the internet.
Yes, we did have that problem when this first started with our conference calls. We have a daily conference call at 9:30, and we had it at 10 o'clock. We found that we had problems at 10 o'clock, so we backed it up to 9:30.
Yeah.
We use a free system.
Yeah.
I'm back, Mr.
Everybody-
Flip.
Okay.
I had to get a water.
Yeah, I'm missing my Pepsi.
Oh,
Tom, were you all done? Tom Pluff?
You're muted, Tom.
Owen, can you unmute him?
Owen muted me.
we can hear you.
Are you,
I know you can now.
you have anything else?
Yes, I am done. My speech will be the same for both units. The MOA is the same for both units. So the highlights are to repeat, some language changes regarding union organization that result as the Janus case, the United States Supreme Court case regarding agency fees and organizing, a cost of living increase, a upgrade in longevity, and $1 more in the cost of the dental insurance.
We need a motion, item 17, from anybody.
Okay. Motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Brockton Housing Authority and the Maintenance Employees Unit affiliated with the Service Employees International Unit, Local 888, as presented.
Second,
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford. Motion is to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Brockton Housing Authority and the Maintenance Employees Union affiliated with the Service Employees International Union, Local 888, as presented. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 18, approval of the memorandum of understanding between the Brockton Housing Authority and Administrative Clerical Union affiliated with the Service Employees International Union, Local 888, Exhibit O in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
As Mr. Pluff said, this is the same, it's a different agreement, MOU, with a different bargaining unit, but the same language. Mr. Pluff, there's no difference between the two, is there?
There is not.
So we are recommending that the MOU be approved for the administrative union as well as the maintenance union.
We need a motion for item 18 from anybody.
A motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Brockton Housing Authority and the Administration Clerk Union affiliated with the Service of Employees International Union, Local 888, as presented.
Second,
A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Brockton Housing Authority and the Administrative Clerical Union affiliated with the Service Employees International Union, Local 888, as presented. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 19, Executive Director's Report. Mr. Tebow?
So I'll try to keep it brief. As you know, we're dealing with this COVID-19 problem, this pandemic. We have a very vulnerable population. We are spending quite a bit of time doing whatever we can, time and resources, to protect them. We are restricting access to our high rises and common areas for the elderly disabled buildings. Brockton, as you know, has been really hit hard by this. And I want to thank our residents. I know I speak to Carol on a fairly regular basis, what they're doing at Caffrey Towers. As Carol knows, it started off a little slow. People didn't quite understand what was happening, but we're seeing more and more of that. I don't know how much longer this can go on as far as people. As you know, and Carol can tell you, you have a small apartment in some common areas, and the shelter at home is not the greatest. Carol's lucky enough to have a vehicle she can go and hop into and drive around and get some fresh air and outside, but that's not true of everybody. So
Yes.
we have a job cut out for us here. Every morning we do meet at 9:30. On the agenda every day is getting more personal protection equipment. We are looking forward. How do we do our jobs? The maintenance are doing emergencies now, but we can't do that forever. We have to get out and start making repairs. So we're talking about, what do our staff need to be comfortable to go into these apartments, and what do our residents need to be comfortable to have a maintenance person come into their apartment? Because as you are aware, that many people have this virus and don't exhibit any signs of sickness. And so just because a person looks very healthy doesn't mean they can't make you sick. Most of our staff could weather this. Many of our residents cannot. And so we're concerned about that. On the federal side, our budgets have been increased to deal with a number of these things for this year. We'll see how that comes out. We don't know the exact numbers. On the state side, I expect there to be drastic cuts. We just approved those memorandum of agreements with our unions. It wouldn't matter if we zeroed those out and said you're getting nothing. There are going to be cuts, and I don't know how that will affect us. We have been planning for a rainy day for a long time. I hope this isn't a hurricane, but it is. It is, and it depends on how quickly the economy comes back. Excuse me. The state's budget is based upon tax receipts, upon sales, and nobody's buying anything right now. Businesses aren't working. People aren't paying this income tax. So it really is, it's going to be a challenge going forward. We are open for business, and we're trying to make that easier and easier. We have, and we're trying to look, what do we look like in June? What do we look like in July, dealing with the public? Mr. Plouffe is working with a company, DocuSign, so that we can send our documents to our residents and to our applicants, and they could sign them electronically, trying to get the face-to-face interaction as low as possible. We are moving on other things. We spoke many times about looking at how we fund federal public and state public housing. We are working with others on that. That continues. So that's regular business, and that's probably the most important thing that we do as we move forward. That's where we're looking at this Section 18 Demolition Disposition program. We're not going to tear anything down. We're just going to fund it differently if we can, fund it at higher rates so that we can take care of our properties and provide the services people need. So we're exploring that. As I said, we're working on the grant. The grant will be submitted tomorrow. Mr. Hines has informed us that he will be retiring. I do not have a date for him, but it will be within the next couple months. So we'll be doing some reorganization. I'll be talking to the board members about that. So there's a lot happening outside of the virus. So what you do is you spend your first 8 hours of the day on your virus stuff, and then the second 8 hours of your day, what you would have done if they didn't have the virus. So it's been something, and I have to really give credit to Vinny, to Christopher. His people are out in the field every day. Something happens. It's usually 3 or 4 things, and I'm not talking Monday through Friday and 9 to 5. I'm talking about 24/7, Saturday, Sundays. Every Friday, I say, I hope I don't talk to you on the weekend, and then I talk to him 3 or 4 times. So there's always something going on. Chris is doing a wonderful job making sure that he is prepared for when we can open up and have construction working. So we're looking forward to that. We have money to spend, and we'd like to do it, and there's lots of needs for that. I think we spoke of this before, but Margaret Pauline is retiring May 4th. Tom, May 4th? May 4th. So she is in charge of the rental assistance department. So there's lots of changes, which aren't unexpected. That's where we're going through, looking at how the place operates. There'll be some real challenges coming up, especially on the state side. We weren't in great shape on the state side, as I've informed you before, and this is not going to help. So we are, Mr. Pacious and I, and along with our fee accountant, have contacted their finance department with the Department of Housing Community Development, and we're looking to do a meeting. I'd like to do these things in person, but we'll probably do it by conference call or Zoom and work those things out. So, and Susan's keeping a diary. Every morning we have our meetings, and she's got it. I think it's up to about 40 pages of things that we've done. I read it every weekend just to remind myself where we are. It's amazing, the evolution of thinking, where at the beginning we thought, okay, we were shutting down for a short period of time. How do we do this? Just stand pat. And now we're operating, and we are going to continue to operate differently for the foreseeable future. We have issued 30 or so laptop computers, so people can work from home. They get in, it's they're sitting at their desk. The problems they have there is paper. They don't have, scanning and copying, but we're working through that. But overall, I'm extremely pleased with what Owen and Hugh have done, because we had someone in the office become ill with the virus. We had to shut the office down for 2 weeks. So that was a Friday, and they had basically 72 hours to get us up and running by Monday morning, and they did it. So that's what I have right now.
Now, where do you get the protective, the mask, the gloves, the gowns? Is that from the Board of Health, or do you have to buy those on your own?
We buy them on our own, and we're being as creative as possible. Mr. Christopher met one of our vendors, in a park, and got the stuff out of his trunk. This is a regular vendor, someone you deal with all the time. Most of our orders aren't coming in on time. We have actually had one of our maintenance men drive to Pittsfield to pick up 100 N95 masks. Right now, we're working with some alternative vendors. We are looking to buy masks for all of our residents. So we've got 2 orders in for 5,000 masks. One was supposed to show up Monday. It did not. And I think Mr. DeChristopher told me it was pushed out to mid-May. As we were talking, I got an email saying that another one might be shipped this week. So that's good. But we are telling our residents you have to wear masks.
Yes.
And you can't buy them. I mean, you can get. I went to a tailor and got this. It's a cloth mask, but not everybody can get them. So we'd like to provide them, because we don't want our people walking around. They don't know if they're sick or not, and the masks protect the other people. So that's very important.
Doris Smith and her sister Benita, they've been making cloth masks and donating them, and a lot of other groups are doing that. So it would seem that we could, rather than spending a lot of money on that, to get people who are doing this as donations.
Here's a Doris mask here.
Oh, good.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The problem though is the people who are making them, we need probably between 5,000 and 10,000.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if we could give them out, that would be fine. And the cloth ones, they just, most people doing it can't make that number.
Yeah.
I can see us wearing masks this time next year.
A long time.
Wow.
So I hope I'm wrong, right? But I could see that happening.
And have there been issues with those coming in, home health aides, visiting nurses? I mean, I assume they have all their own protective gear, but I'm not sure if they always are provided with that, but.
Oh,
No,
they're-
they're having problems getting it. I talked to,
Yeah.
companies providing it. They are coming in with masks, but the mask might not be new. They might be the same mask they've been wearing for 2 weeks. So yeah, it's a problem. I don't know when the supply chain will catch up. But as I said to Vinny today, I was worried that we'd order 5,000 masks and they'll show up in August. And now I'm thinking we'll probably need them in August. So that's where we are on that. And again, we need to provide it for our staff so that they can go in and do the work they need to do. We're doing emergency work orders only now. That's expanding on a regular basis because we realize that some things that aren't an emergency today are going to turn into one tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're trying to expand it without jeopardizing the safety of our residents and our staff.
Right. And Tom, I have emphasized with the tenants over here the importance of wearing a mask, because as I was telling you yesterday, I have a family member who, was sick with the virus and has survived the virus. And she has informed me that she would not like to see anyone come down with the virus. As she put it, the virus is like being hit with a freight train, but you stay conscious.
Well, we're hoping that we don't.
It is that bad on the body. And she says, and the wearing of the mask is not so much that if a person is a carrier, they're protecting not just themselves, but other people also.
Yeah, we have some family too, and they've never had anything like that. And one of them in particular was younger and just completely devastated by it.
Yeah, it's really a very nasty situation right now. But I am so happy that she has pulled through. It's just that as family, we can't get together. That's what's hurting, but she was a fighter, and she still is. And she said she prays that people will just stay home like they've been told to do. Only go out if you have to do your grocery shopping or prescriptions or whatever, but don't go out to socialize. And if you do, 6 feet.
I also want to note that Commissioner Sullivan every morning, I believe from it's 12 to 1 or 11 to 1, is volunteering to distribute lunch to, I think 15,000 lunches were distributed last time we counted, Tim.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. And they're also giving dinners on the weekends, right?
Yes. Or breakfast and lunch, but for Saturday and Sunday as well.
Hmm.
You get that on Friday. You get the 3 in a package.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you for the work that you do. This is probably the worst time in our lives that we've seen anything like this. But you seem to come through smelling like a rose. Your composure is perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing seems to bother you. I don't know if it does or not.
I'm sure it does.
You
never
don't
lose
see
your
what's
temper?
happening inside, Mr. Chairman. You don't see what's happening inside.
I just wanted to say you do a good job at it. That's all.
I thank you very much. I can tell you, my wife and I both don't sleep. So, but the people on this call, and there are many, many others who are out there doing work every day. There are people who are walking in and finding people who are sick. Obviously, that's disturbing in two ways. One, you've just found one of your residents sick. You have to get them to a hospital, and you have potentially been exposed.
Mm-hmm.
That's happening on a regular basis, and the staff just keep coming and coming, and they have their own concerns. They have their own health issues. They have their own family health issues. You know, I've actually told them, I had the conversation this morning, you know, maybe we should recommend the person take a day off or two, you know, use a little vacation time, because it's starting to layer. And I don't want people breaking down, you know, because again, I see this going for quite some time. The governor pushed it off to the 18th of May. And at that time, I would expect you would still have restrictions. I don't know what hopefully the numbers keep going down, but it'll be a work. But we have a lot to get done. And, you know, there's also the exhilarating parts when you do stuff and it works and something happens. So,
Right.
you know, the first thing that happened in this building, and you know the tenant president here, Carol, Sharon and the vice president got disinfected and started cleaning the elevators every day. That was what they wanted to do. Now we have that professionally done every day, 7 days a week. But there was a ton of that happening. Lots of residents doing that, helping each other.
Yes, that's a good thing.
Well,
That's a
thank
good-
you, everybody.
Sue
Yeah.
Keating, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Tim.
Sue, I was gonna make a motion that, or somebody can make a motion that we just accept the executive director's report, put on file, even though it doesn't say it here.
Oh,
If
make a
somebody
motion
can make
to,
a motion to accept as read, we'll just put it on file.
make a motion to accept the executive director's report.
And a
Second.
second.
The second it?
A motion's been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, to accept the executive director's report and put on file. Any questions on the motion?
None.
Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes,
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 20, old business. Any old business? Hearing none. Item 21, new business. I just had one question for Vinnie, to Christopher, if I could. He's still on mute, Owen.
I think there's a little bit of a delay when he takes them off.
any,
Owen's on mute too.
yeah.
Or maybe you can answer, Tom. I was just,
Oh, then he's up.
Hello.
Vinnie, can you hear me?
I
He
can hear
woke
you.
up.
Vinnie, I was told that all the maintenance issues are being put on file and they'll be taken care of at a later date.
Yes, all the calls that are coming in are going in the system. And every day I screen them and we do all the emergencies. And anytime anybody calls, it's on record. And once this is all over with, we will be going out and taking care of all those issues.
Vinnie, the main reason for the question is, do people have to keep calling about the same issue over and over again, or is it once is
No,
enough?
well, no, because once they call in, it goes into the work order system, so it's there. So when it's time for us to go out, we'll get out to it. I mean,
So
if they
right
call
now-
multiple times, it's not going to make a difference. We're not
Okay.
going to keep creating work orders for the same call.
That's right.
So when you say emergencies only,
Yes.
these are life or death emergencies you're talking about?
There's a list, I don't have it in front of me now, but it's been put out by DHCD, and I drew up one myself, which was similar. Basically, it's lockouts, no heat, floods, fires, water leaks, sprinkler heads, and sewage backups. Those are the
Okay.
emergencies that we're responding to now. and then all the others are just gonna be put on hold until we can start moving.
We'll get to them sooner or later.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Mr.
And I
Chairman,
got a plan, you know, I am planning on moving forward fast on it when the time comes to get these things, to get the calls done. I was telling Mr. Keeble this morning that, you know, I monitor the work order system every day, and considering we haven't been doing a lot of the routine day-to-day calls, the work orders in most of the departments aren't that bad, the outstanding calls considering. So we're in okay shape right now.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, to let you know, I sent out a number of letters, but one of the letters did talk about the emergencies and list them. The other is that Mr. DeChristopher has now instructed his staff, if they're going into an apartment for an emergency call, if there are any other calls at the apartment, to take care of those during that time. So if we're going to have that exposure, we might as well get whatever work that's needed to be done. We asked the resident to go into the other room, so that they are, you know, they're not exposed to us, we're not exposed to them.
Yeah, we all have to be safe, Tom.
Correct. Thank you.
Any other old business? Item 21, new business. Any new business?
Tim, if I could add to some new business.
Yes, Ernie, go ahead.
It was brought to my attention that a lot of the elderly people babysits for their family members, and it was brought to my attention that they're dropping off the young ones in the developments, so forth. I think that might be a little problem there, and I wonder if someone could look into it and maybe take care of that problem, because that could carry that virus around or brought into the complex and really spread.
We are, Commissioner Pettiford, we are limiting visitors under an order from the Board of Health. One of the primary reasons for that order was the number of families walking through the doors en masse into our elderly disabled buildings. And we had the resulting virus from that, an outbreak. Since we have started limiting that, we have seen that level off and start to turn down. So it is an issue. Obviously, there are civil liberties involved in that. We are constantly reviewing that. The state issued an order today, not an order, advice to managers of public housing, high rises, and places like Crosby Gardens on what to do in limiting. On Friday, the state Department of Public Health issued some guidance to all residential high-rise, both public and private managers, on what to do to limit and exposure to their residents. So you're absolutely right. It's a concern. I can't say that it's not happening on, but it's the exception right now if it's happening.
And the police have helped with that, haven't they, Tom? Haven't the police been on top of that better too?
Yes, we do have people asking, that only, and we do have a list of essential services, only essential services come in for our residents. So.
Any other questions under new business? I didn't have a question, Tom, but I wanted to make a comment to Debbie. Happy birthday.
Oh.
She's in Florida, right?
Yeah, she's stuck down there.
Yeah.
Nice place to be stuck, though.
Yeah. We don't feel so bad for her.
We will, this meeting is being recorded, and it will be posted to our website. If she wants to go through the 2 hours, where are we on it? An hour and 30 minutes, she'll get the happy birthday.
Okay. Any other new business before we jump to item 22? Hearing none, We need a motion on item 22. From anybody.
Adjournment. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
No, second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? By a roll call, Tom?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I want to
Thank
thank
you,
all of you.
everybody.
I think you did a wonderful job, Mr. Chairman, and a new environment here. And I think we'll be doing the same thing in our May meeting. So we'll get some things out. I'll work with Commissioner Texera. I know this system has been working, so he must have some kind of unique issue with his computer at home. And thank you all for being at the meeting.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Stay well.
Stay well to all.